Good evening. High school wrestling is on the air as we get you set for state tournament coverage, as we've got state dual action coming your way as the Independence Mustangs will take on the Albia Demons. Good morning, everybody, along with Roger Reed and Zach McCool. This is Jamie Vasky, and fellas, Roger, what a tournament. We wait for this all year long, and then we get up here, and then all of a sudden it's here, and we certainly enjoy being here, and we can't wait for this thing to get underway.
Well, that's right, and Jamie, the thing that we've been noticing from our 1A and 3A teams especially, this year all the teams have wrestled their best kids. And in the past, we've seen some teams sit out a bunch of their kids. They don't want a scouting report to get out, don't want somebody to see what they've got, so to speak, before the individual tournament starts. But we've seen everybody wrestle their best lineups, and it's made for, in 3A especially, it's made for 4 really good duels. And, of course, the 1A, we saw a couple of outstanding duels there, and you've got the recap for those. But that's what you like to see. The kids are on their way down here, and they deserve to be out on the mat, and you put the best against the best, and you see what happens.
And Zach joining us for the second year. You get in this big arena here, and you're going to have some butterflies as you're wrestling under the big lights here. 8 mats down there. This is the team aspect of it here today. Obviously, as we move forward into tomorrow, you're under the lights by yourself in the individual aspects. It's a big moment getting down here, whether it's for team or individual, being in the arena here, the big stage.
Well, Jamie and Roger, this is something that, each team and each individual circles on their calendar every year. This is the spotlight that you always want to get to. It's an accomplishment of always being in this arena. Those lights are very shiny bright, and something that you like to be on the mat for. So this is something that they continue to circle on their calendar. It's nice to see that all these teams are actually putting all the wrestlers, like Roger said, out on the mat to wrestle, because everybody wants to be under the spotlight. Even if you're not in the individual state tournament, it's always nice to be able to get here and wrestle.
As we have had matches already, just one match remains, as that's Waverly Shell Rock taking on Cedar Rapids Jefferson, and the Go-Hawks currently lead that duel by a score of 32-23, so they will move on and advance. And we've had some other duels already in Class 3A. Bettendorf defeated Pleasant Valley 38-24. Cedar Rapids Prairie defeated Linn-Mar 35-27. Southeast Polk defeated Iowa City West 37-29. In Class 1A, top-ranked Alburnett moves on as they defeated Logan Magnolia 54-25. Clarion Goldfield winning over Wilton in the first session, 38-31. Eddyville Blakesburg advances with a 52-21 win over West Marshall State Center. And Don Bosco advances with a win over Woodbury Central Mobile, 42-25. So we'll have Alburnett taking on Clarion Goldfield, and Eddyville Blakesburg taking on Don Bosco in the semifinals. In Class 3A, it'll be Bettendorf and Prairie in the semifinals, and Southeast Polk and Waverly Shell Rock. It's going to be some great action coming up here as we have Independence coming up against Albia. We'll take a break and come back and get you started with that duel right after this. You're listening to state tournament coverage from KMCH Sports. And welcome back into the Wells Fargo Arena as we get you set for Class 2A state duel action. As in this first duel, we will see the Independence Mustangs taking on Albia. In that first duel, the Blue Demons, from Albia in this first duel. As it shows here, they've got a couple open weights, so we'll kind of go through. This first duel will start at 106 pounds as we have Kyle Sinot, taking on Jacob Wolf from Independence, who's a freshman. Freshman Sinot is 32-12 this season. Jacob Wolf, the sophomore, is 16-29. At weight class 113, we show Mitchell Evans from Independence. He's a junior at 31-16. Albia has an open weight there. Also at 120, Albia has an open weight. That'll be Drew Davis from Independence picking up the forfeit there. He's a sophomore at 30-14. At weight class 126, the freshman Tanner Erickson Dale is 17-30. He'll be taking on Shadow Leshen, who is a senior at 54-0. You're going to see with these Albia wrestlers a lot of matches this season as they wrestle in a lot of dual meets. They are 33-3, 36 dual meets on the season. At weight class 132, Peyton Nolting from the freshman from Independence. He's 16-26. He'll be taking on either Bryce Leshen, who is a sophomore at 47-0, or Luke Sinclair, who is a sophomore at 7-24. Weight class 138, Luke House, the sophomore from Independence, is 18-26. He'll be taking on Blake Lawless, who is a sophomore at 47-10. Then at weight class 145, the junior from Independence, 43-0, Chase Straw, will be taking on Caleb White, who is a senior at 45-7. Weight class 152, it'll be Jake Jewell, the sophomore from Independence, who's 29-10. He will be taking on Griffin Osing, who's a senior at 33-4. Weight class 160, Nicholas Holt, the sophomore from Independence, who's 32-12, will be taking on Brett Leshen, who is a senior at 47-0. Weight class 170, Zach Kramer, the senior from Independence, who's 31-15. He will be taking on Dalton Folkerts, who is a senior at 50-3. Up at weight class 182, the senior for Independence, Kyle Fank. He's 42-1 this season. He'll be taking on Zach Armstrong, who is a sophomore at 4-12. At 195, Matt McMillan having a great season and a even better second half of the season, as he is a sophomore at 35-9. He'll be taking on Carter Isley, who is a sophomore at 50-0. At weight class 220, Jason Grover, the junior for the Mustangs, is 29-16. Albia shows an open weight at 220. And at heavyweight, Mitch Selesky, the senior from Independence, who's 13-9. He will take on Dylan Perkins from Albia, who is a senior at 4-6. And looking at this, Roger and Zach, the Mustangs, they're going to get to the strength of their order, but Albia, unlike some of the teams Independence has wrestled this year, they're strong in a lot of. They've got a heart of their order as well, and it's very good.
Well, you're right, and we're going to see the strength of Albia meet the strength of Independence, and Jamie, that's going to be very interesting. You talked about Albia showing 3 open weights. I got a feeling that they're going to move some kids around. We might only have one open weight at 120, Drew Davis. I don't see that Albia has anybody to move into that slot, but they do have some depth in their upper weights. They can move some kids around to fill in that spot at 220. So, Jamie, where the Mustangs are strong, the Blue Demons are just as strong. So it's going to be strength against strength, and something's got to give. We hope it's the Blue Demons that gives today.
Absolutely, as we will start at weight class 106, and coming to the mat for the Mustangs is going to be Jacob Wolf, and we'll see who shows up there for Albia.
It's either going to be Kyle Sinnott or Storm Little. I was talking to the Albia broadcasters above us, Jamie, and they did move in the regional. They left Storm at 106, and they moved Sinnott up to 113. So we might see that here again today, or we might see a strength against strength. Well, we are underway, and we'll find out on Storm Little. Yep, we thought they might do that, match strength against strength. So we're going to see Storm Little. He's coming in here as a freshman. Jamie, he's 17-13, taking on Jake Wolf, who's had a fine season with 16 wins, 29 losses. Jake Wolf's wrestled a lot of matches. There's Little in with a nice high crotch. He cut across to a double, covered the hips of Wolf, and now Wolf is underneath fighting for his life. Little is not very little, Zach McCool. He's a pretty good size for a 106-pounder.
Yeah, he's tall and lengthy, and he's slim, but he's he can get down on the legs pretty easily there with his long arms, long legs, and that's just what he did there. Was hit a nice high crotch, cut across to the double, and ultimately got the takedown.
Well, he's working an inside wrist on that left side, and maybe he's trying to set up a ball and chain with that left arm. Storm Little, the freshman from Albia, out on top early, 2-0. So Jake Wolf will have some work to do to get back into this match. A chicken wing now by Little on the left side of Jake Wolf, and Little is going to get out to the side. He's going to scoop an inside wrist on the right. He's going to get out to the side, and he's going to drive it. 44 seconds left to go in the first period. Storm Little has Jake Wolf on his back. Got 1.5 count. Wolf rolled back to his stomach, but Little's going to reload it. Now he sets a half Nelson. He's got Wolf on his back, teed out. Wolf is in trouble, Mustang fans. 27 seconds left to go. Little's going to reload that half Nelson. He's got his arm wrapped around the waist of Wolf. He's got a half Nelson with his left, and there's the fall right there in 143. So Storm Little will get the Blue Demons on the mat early with a fall in 143. So the Mustangs are finding themselves in an early hole, so we'll see if they can dig out of that.
And we've seen the Mustangs get in holes all season. You know, look at last Tuesday against West Delaware. They were in a hole, but again, once they get to that weight class 145, we've seen that they're very tough when they get in there. And I don't think they're going to move anybody up here, Albia. I think Mitch Evans is going to take a forfeit here for the Mustangs.
Well, there's going to be a forfeit, so Mitch Evans. That's an easy way to knock this up, Jamie. That's going to be a forfeit right there. Now they're going to move somebody in at 120, so I'm not sure what they're going to do. We're going to check track wrestling here.
Well, I'm almost thinking if Kyle Sinnott did not, I don't know if he qualified for the state individual tournament, but if he didn't, I think weight class 120, Drew Davis is going to get a forfeit as well.
So weight class 120. So now we're going to have Shadow Leshen. So the Mustangs find themselves up early, taking advantage of those two forfeits. They find themselves up 12-6. So Jamie, that's a good way. Zach, that's a good way to get back in the meet. Take advantage of those two forfeits, and we're going to see Shadow Leshen, the senior, take on the freshman Tanner Erickson Dale for the Mustangs. So tough match for the freshman. But again, he's going to cut his teeth here the first time at the well wrestling against a very experienced senior, undefeated at that. Shadow Leshen is 54-0, and Leshen is out early with the 2-point takedown. So Jamie and Zach, Albia must think that they have the firepower to go with Independence. They're going to give up those two forfeits. They must think they have the manpower, the firepower to wrestle with the Mustangs.
You know, you sit there and look at these guys' record from Albia, 50-0, 51-0, you know, wrestling a lot of matches. The good thing that Independence got going for them is tough teams that they've been wrestling all year. You know, we don't know who Albia really wrestles during the year, but, you know, Northeast Iowa wrestling and all that stuff, that's going to pay off for those guys later on down the road. And, you know, hopefully that Independence firepower here can, you know, allow them to stay in this meet with Albia and wrestle these tough guys pretty hard with their firepower.
At weight class 120, that was Andrew Wright from Independence picking up the forfeit. This is Drew Davis wrestling Shadow Leshen at weight class 126.
All right, so very good. So they've removed Erickson Dale out of the lineup and moved Drew Davis up to find a better matchup. So, you know, Coach Mike Doyle rolling the dice here and trying to find the matchups, and that's what today is all about, is finding the best matchups so your team can have the most success. And we've seen that through the course of the year, how teams will jockey their lineup, and that's exactly what Coach Doyle is doing today. The Mustangs, after two forfeits, are up 12-6. Jake Wolf going down by fall to Storm Little in our first match of 143. Then a couple of forfeits that Al Burnett will give to Independence. They get up now 12-6. So looking a little bit better for the Mustangs. But again, a very tough opponent for Drew Davis in this undefeated senior from Albia, who's 54-0. There's a high crotch by Leshen. He's in deep. There's a nice counter, and time's going to run out. Well, we're off the edge of the mat. 8 seconds left to go. Leshen got in on that high crotch again. It was a double underhook by Davis. He fought Leshen off. This is a contrast of body styles right here, Zach. You've got a tall, lean Drew Davis taking on a very short, stocky Leshen from Albia.
Yeah, you know, Drew Davis is wrestling in this match very well. I think he's frustrating Leshen pretty well here, as Leshen didn't get what he wanted there. He let him up after a stall call, hopefully to get a takedown at the end of that first period, and didn't get it. So Drew Davis doing a very nice job here.
Well, that was a quick escape by Leshen, then a short arm drag right into the single of Davis, right into the leg, and he sat Davis on his backside and picked up two. Now he's going to trade 2 for 1 as he cuts Davis loose again, and right back to the center of the mat they go. There's an elbow pass to a low single Leshin covers the hips of Davis one more time and picks up a 2-point takedown, and I think Leshin's decided that he wants to wrestle Davis on his feet. Escape now for Davis, a front headlock by Leshin. He cuts the corner, picks up another takedown, and now Leshin is on the move here. We're seeing why the senior is 54-0 and ranked number 1 at weight class 126 in Class 2A, and he's showing his stuff right now. 8-4, 4 takedowns for Leshin, 4 escapes by Davis, 1:12 left to go in the second period. This is dual meet wrestling, Class 2A style from the well, and we'll have a lot of action for you before this weekend is over. 1:02 left to go in the second period. There's a sweep single attempt by Davis, and Leshin backs out of it. There's a low shot, low single by Leshin. And Zach, what I like about Leshin is he covers those hips. Once he's in, he doesn't sit. He goes right to the hips, covers the hips, and finishes the shot.
Leshin has really turned it on this second period here. Right before I said it was a slow, end of the first period here, but he's really turned it on, really picked up the pace, taking a lot of shots, staying on the head, very nice on Drew Davis here. It's very hard to wrestle a guy that keeps pressure on the head the entire match. It'll tire and wear you out, and that's hard. And Leshin's doing a nice job of keeping this pace up in this match.
Well, with 25 seconds left to go, he's going to cut Drew Davis loose again. It's 10-5. So Leshin trying to score some bonus points here for the Blue Demons. Again, coming in here at 33-3, which is an unbelievable dual meet record. And we're trying to find out who their losses were to, but we'll have that. They lost to Eddyville Blakesburg, Jamie and Zach, 25-51. So Eddyville, there's a 2-point takedown as the period ends by Leshin.
And it almost makes you wonder if maybe they've had some injuries throughout the year, because in the first duel of the meet, they beat Eddyville Blakesburg 46-24. So two of the teams they lost to, Eddyville Blakesburg and Grinnell, they had beaten both of them early in the season. They lost to Grinnell 42-28 and lost to Norwalk 36-34. So Eddyville and Grinnell both they beat earlier in the season but lost recently.
Well, so again, that's always nice to come back and beat teams that have beat you through the course of the year. Davis going down to start the third period. He's working on a short sit-out and a turn-in, and Leshin does a nice job picking up that far knee and driving Davis forward. 12-5 is our score, and Zach, I'm surprised that Leshin has not went back to his feet to try to earn some bonus points. Davis is flat out on his stomach burning some clock, but he's going to pick up a stalling call right there, so Leshin will pick up another point. It's 13-5, so he's got a major right there. With 1:14 left, you got to be thinking Leshin's thinking technical foul here.
Yeah, I mean, I would think he'd be taking him down, letting him up here like he has been in the last period. I just don't think he's going to be able to pin Drew Davis. Now he's getting back points here, pretty close with a tilt. So, it's going to be very hard to pin Drew Davis. He's square with his body. It's tough to turn a kid that has been wrestling well all year long.
Yeah, that's exactly what the Mustangs have been doing all year. And Jamie, you talked about that in the last dual meet. The Mustangs find a way to get the falls, and they do an outstanding job of staying off their back. They'll give up a major or technical before they give up a pin, and that's what this duel could come down to. With 29 seconds left to go, Leshin has ridden out Davis this whole third period and has only got 1 point. It was 12-5 at the end of the third period, and I'm not sure what the strategy here is on Leshin, but a couple of takedowns by Leshin. He'd be working on a technical fall. Maybe he'd like to get a tilt, but it's going to be a 13-5 major. I'll tell you what, that is a victory, in my opinion. That is a victory for the Mustangs, as they're only going to give up 4 here and not 6. And almost a reversal by Davis at the end of the period with a sit-out turn-in. He tries to come out the backside and covers the hips of Leshin, but no dice there as the time runs out. So Leshin will pick up a 13-5 major. But again, I think that's a victory there for the Mustangs.
Absolutely. Drew Davis did a very nice job of keeping the pace up, and that even though he's getting rode out, he was still moving, still, going side to side on the bottom, trying to get out. Almost got a reversal there at the end of the third period. So, he wasn't giving up, and he knew that he wasn't going to be getting pinned. I truly believe that might be a turning point in this meet right here.
Well, we'll see what happens now. Weight class 132, where the Mustangs have Peyton Nolting listed on their starting card, and it looks like the Blue Demons are going to send out the sophomore Bryce Leshen. And Bryce Leshen out with a 2-second takedown with a throw-by on Nolting. So, tell you what, that was right on the whistle. Leshen, let's get the skinny on him. He's a sophomore. He's 47-0. So, I'm not sure if they're all brothers. Shadow Leshen did not look like Bryce Leshen. You know, as far as their body styles are concerned, I'm not sure if they're related or brothers or what, but I tell you what, that must be a house full of crazy wrestling when they get together. There's a double chicken wing now by the sophomore from Albia, Peyton Nolting, on his back. A double chicken wing as Bryce Leshen has got Nolting down for the count. He's trying to lock this thing up and tighten it up. Nolting doing a nice job in a high bridge, trying to keep his shoulder blades up. Leshen now is going to sit through on that double chicken wing, and Zach, that's a lot of pressure on Nolting.
Yes, he's got a long time to sit there in a double chicken wing. Got to keep fighting hard here. Doing a nice job of bridging. He's still keeping a good fight here, but it's pretty tight. He's sitting now on his butt here, got him, on pretty tight there. I don't know. It might be a little bit too tight. Might not get the pin here, and that's what Independence is hoping for is in the second period.
That's a nice job by Nolting. He's going to roll out of it, and you were right, Zach. Sometimes you get that double chicken wing in too tight, and your shoulder blades are pinched together, and it actually keeps your one shoulder up off the mat, and that's exactly what happened to Nolting, and he wiggled his way free, and tell you what, he's up on the mat trying to work those shoulders out, as that was a lot of pressure by the sophomore from Albia. 47-0. Coming into the dual meet tournament. I think there might be 3 or 4 more wins on top of that. I'm not sure that the district record and the regional dual team records are posted in there. So, but anyway, regardless, that's 47 wins against no losses. So Nolting from Independence, the freshman, once again is finding the going a little bit tough here against the Blue Demon from Albia. There's another chicken wing on the left side. Now a half Nelson on the right. Nolting once again in a high bridge. This looks like it's a little bit tighter. There's the fall. I think they're going to count the fall there, Zach.
Yes, that was 0
time
seconds.
Expires. Bryce Leshen will win by fall. As time expires, we'll put that down right at 2 minutes. And that's going to put the Albia Blue Demons up now by a score of 16-12. Going into weight class 138, and Luke House for the Mustangs. We'll check this out. Luke House for the Mustangs, and it looks like we might have Blake Lawless for the Blue Demons. He's a sophomore at 47-10, and that's a ton of matches. That's 57 matches, Jamie, coming into the dual meet tournament. So, you wrestle 4 here. You wrestle 3 today. You wrestle potentially wrestling 6 in the individual tournament. You could have, you got 57. You got 57. You're going to have 60 matches after today, and possibility of 6 more. 66 matches in a season. That is unbelievable.
It is, and this is Blake Lawless and Luke House here for the Mustangs and the Blue Demons.
So 47-10, and once again in on a double leg takedown. Zach, the Independence Mustangs have yet to get a takedown on the Blue Demons, so we can kind of see what the plan is. The Blue Demons are going to be on the attack right from the starting whistle.
Yeah, they go after it right off the whistle right away. It doesn't give Independence Mustangs much time to even react, to even try to get their own shot on. So they're getting after it right away. They're getting after this duel.
Well, you're exactly right. In our brackets, we're going to get an illegal hold by Lawless as he went to a full Nelson on Luke House. So it's going to be 2-1. On this side of the bracket, Independence will have either the winner or loser of Assumption Davenport and Webster City. They are wrestling right now on mat number 3. Luke House is going to find himself on his back again. I'm not sure that any back points have been awarded yet, but there's a chicken wing by Lawless, this time on the right side, and we're going to get forward pressure, so our official's going to stop that for potentially dangerous. So, Zach, The Independence Mustangs have found themselves in the chicken wing half Nelson. They got to do something to clear their arms on the whistle to get up and get out.
Yeah, basically what Independence is doing so far is just leaving their forearms out front, trying to have a square base on their bellies, and just giving them, the guys, the arms and their wrists. The entire duel so far is, so they got to try standing up, getting to their base a little bit better, make it a little bit more difficult on getting those wrists and arms.
Well, you're exactly right. We have a correction. Jamie, you've got a correction. That last match was Tanner Erickson-Dale. And right now losing to Bryce Leshen. And we've got Luke House on his back. And I'll tell you what, there's a fall in 136. Blake Lawless is going to win by a fall in 136. So that's going to make the deficit even a little bit bigger now, as the Blue Demons will pick up 6 more. Now they have almost doubled the Mustangs. They lead now 22-12. But I tell you what, if you need a stopper in your lineup, Jamie Vasky, you got it right here, man.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I said their stopper is here, and that's Chase Straw, and he's got an opportunity, and he's going to have to do it. We've seen, we talked earlier about that difference between giving up a fall or giving up a tech fall. Well, the same thing applies here for Chase Straw. This duel could come down to whether or not he gets a fall or gets a tech fall. And we've seen Chase Straw. He can score a lot of points in a hurry, but I think this is one of those matches where the Mustangs are going to need him to pick up a fall.
Well, you're exactly right. You got to be thinking big points here. But I'll tell you what, he's wrestling a very, very tough opponent here in Caleb White. White is a senior. He's 45-7, so no slouch taking the mat for Albia here. 45-7, 52 matches on the year. And a Chase Straw with that short arm drag to a single, head to the outside, high crotch, and he's trying to cut across. And there's a nice job by Straw. He picks up that right leg, cuts through the middle, covers the hips up of Caleb White, and picks up the first takedown for the day for the Independence Mustangs. So they needed that, Zach. They needed Chase Straw to come out and get that first takedown and get him up on the board.
Absolutely, and Caleb White, he, with a record of senior with a record of 44-6, that's no slouch there. So Chase Straw still has to get after it, still has to do what he's been doing all year long, and get out there and get that fall.
Well, he's been tested. Chase Straw's been through the fire. He's been tested, still undefeated. They wrestled in that clash in Minnesota, and he came away undefeated, so he has yet to lose from anybody from Iowa or Minnesota or Ohio or Wisconsin. So he's battle tested. There's a nice tilt attempt by Straw. He's got a chicken wing on the left side now. He's doing a little payback here with the chicken wing. Now White frees that left arm, and that's okay with Chase Straw because he goes to an inside wrist on the right, rolls that out to a bar. Now he's working on that little cattle catcher. He circles the head of White. Now let's see if he can launch him to his back. And now a turn in by White. He's going to face Straw. Might be a 1-point escape for White from Albia. Front headlock now by Straw. It looks like we're going to get a stalemate, so no change of position there as White will go back underneath Chase Straw. So again, I've been impressed with the Blue Demons so far. Now we've got blood time, the first blood time of the meet here.
And while we look at that, we'll go do a quick rundown of all the scores in Class 1A, the consolation semifinals. Wilton leads Logan Magnolia 16-0. Woodbury Central leads West Marshall 12-9. Other Class 2A quarterfinals here: Mediapolis leading Sergeant Bluff Luton 9-5. Clear Lake leads Creston 13-0. Other scores here as we take a look: 13-0 in that one. Davenport Assumption leads Webster City 15-0. Class 3A consolation semifinals: Linn-Mar leads Pleasant Valley 11-3, and Cedar Rapids Jefferson and Iowa City West are tied at 3 apiece.
So we've got an all-Eastern Iowa showdown down there, Jamie. 4 Eastern Iowa schools going at it. Chase Straw gets a little bit in trouble there with that tilt. Caleb White rolls through, rolls out of it, might try to pick up one, and Straw dives back in on that right leg and corrals White on the edge of the mat, so no change of position. Zach, we've talked about this through the course of the year. You don't want to put yourself in bad position to try to score points when you're wrestling a quality opponent.
That's exactly right. Chase Straw put himself in some danger zone right there. Never want to roll across your back and let the other opponent get you close to putting you on your back. You got to keep moving. You got to keep doing what you've been doing all year.
And there was a stalling warning against White right before he had that little flurry. So one stall warning against White here as he's going to choose down to start the second period. And I think this is a good decision by Chase Straw. He's going to cut him loose.
Well, that's right. So it's going to be 2-1. 2-1 to start this second. What I like about Chase Straw is he just works that head. Tap, tap, tap on the head. Goes right in on that low single. Cuts across the hips of White. No points yet. They're in a scramble. Now Straw's going to kick that leg free. He's going to cover the hips of White and pick up the second takedown. So he will go up now 4-1. And he was trying to set up a Turk on the left leg of White. Now he's going to cut White loose. Not going to wrestle him on the mat, but going to wrestle him on his feet. And White tries to drop down on a single, but there's Straw looking for that high crotch again. And going to go off the edge of the mat. And back to the center we go. So good action here, 4-2. One of the closer matches we've seen Chase Straw in during the course of the year. There's Straw working on that short arm drag. He almost drags White right into his leg, and he has to scramble to get himself back to his feet and into good position. 1:10 left to go in the second period. Again, Chase Straw is up 4-2 in this match. The Mustangs are in a 10-point hole as the Blue Demons lead 22-12 at this point. High crotch attempt by Straw and a nice job by White. And Zach, we can see why Caleb White is 45-7. He's giving Chase Straw all that he wants right now.
White's doing a nice job of just slowing down Chase Straw's pace. Chase Straw just got in there on a double leg there. Looks like he's got an inside leg cradle in the works right here. But that's the thing that White's doing a nice job is slowing down, Straw's pace, not letting very many shot attempts get in there. Kind of frustrating Straw here. He's got to keep his pace going here and keep try to get pinning combinations going.
He might have frustrated him just a little bit too much, Zach, as Straw's going to work now on the right side of Caleb White with the chicken wing. He had that right arm to a bar and wrapped around the head of White and was going to try to launch him, but White did a nice job of getting his arm back. Straw's going to give him a shove off the edge of the mat, and we've got to go back to the center and get a restart with 12 seconds left to go. On deck for the Mustangs is Jake Jewell, and it looks like it might be Griffin Osing for the Albia Blue Demons. He's a senior also at 33-4. So a senior-laden lineup for the Albia Blue Demons, and they're trying to make their first trip here to the state duels a memorable one, as they are leading the number 6 seeded Mustangs 22-12. Second period over. It's going to be Straw's choice, and he's going to go right to the bottom. So we'll see what White likes to do on the top. And Zach, we've seen the team characteristic. The Albia Blue Demons have loved to work the chicken wings and the bars, and Chase Straw is not going to give him an opportunity as he splits the hands of White, goes right to his feet, picks up a 1-point escape. Now it's 7-2. So if you're Chase Straw, you got to be thinking major right here.
Well, you do, and that's exactly, he's got to go to work on his feet. Right now he's not doing it. Caleb White isn't doing enough to let you get a fall here. So you got to go back to work on your feet where you've been dominant. You got a 7-point lead right now. Another takedown away. You got to pick up at least a major here if you're Chase Straw. Yeah,
as easy as those takedowns, that was his 4th takedown. As easy as those shots have come to him, you would think that maybe he's going to cut him loose and then start to build that gap here. And again, you like to trade 2 for 1 anytime you can. There's a short sit out by White to a stand up, and Straw might cut him loose. No, he's going to pick him up and carry him off the edge of the mat. And Caleb White takes a few words of advice from his coach as they come back. And you're exactly right, Jamie and Zach. Straw's going to let White loose. It's going to be 9-3. 59 seconds left to go. We'll see if Straw can work himself back to that low shot attack. There's the first single attempt by White. He's in on the left leg of Straw. Straw with an underhook now to the right side of White. White squeezes down on that underhook, and we might get a stalemate here by our official. Front headlock attempt here by Straw, and White's going to come to his feet, and we're going to get a stalemate right there, and back to action we go. 9-3 lead for Chase Straw. 32 seconds left. There's White in on a low single again. There's a go behind by Straw. No points yet as White is back to his feet. That's going to be a 2-point takedown now by Straw. And Straw working on a tilt and is going to pick up 2 and 2. So 2 for the takedown, 2 for the tilt. That's a nice 4-point move, Zach.
Yes, it very is. He got right into that tilt right after that takedown, straight from his feet to a tilt. So picking up 2 and 2 right there was a very nice job by Chase Straw.
And with 4 seconds left to go, and it looks like Straw is going to win this thing by major decision, 14-3. So that's a nice 4-point major decision. So as we wait for the weight class 152 to come in, let's take a 30-second timeout. Stay with us. We got Jake Jewell coming up. The Mustangs just get 4 right here on 94.7 KMCH.
And welcome back in as postseason state tournament wrestling and state dual wrestling on KMCH, brought to you by East Buchanan Telephone Co-op, Bob Stephen Motors, Souf's Flower and Garden Center, Hart Ridge Golf Course, and the Manchester Car Quest, as we are back here in the state dual tournament, Wells Fargo Arena. Up at weight class 152, we've got Jake Jewell, the sophomore from Independence, 29-10. He's taking on Griffin Osing, who is a senior at 31-4 from Albia. Our team score right now is 22-16 in favor of Albia. We started at weight class 106. It was Kyle Sinnott with a fall in 1 minute and 43 seconds. Then it was Mitch Evans picking up a forfeit for the Mustangs at 113. 120, Andrew Wright from Independence with a forfeit. That made it 12-6 in favor of Independence. Shadow Leshin with a 13-5 major decision over Drew Davis at 126. Bryce Leshin then got a fall over Tanner Erickson Dale in 159. Blake Lawless with a fall over Luke House in 136. And Chase Straw with a 14-3 major decision for the Mustangs, as our dual meet score 22-16 in favor of Albia.
Well, Jamie, this is one of those toss-up matches we looked at coming here. Jake Jewell, don't look at his record. He's a sophomore at 29-10. You got to look at that schedule. And I'll tell you what, Jake Jewell is very, very tough, very, very scrappy. And he's only a sophomore. He's trying to pick up win number 30, 31, 32 here at the state duels. And I'll tell you what, with 4 seconds left, it's 0-0 on the scoreboard here. So a good first period for the sophomore from Independence, taking on a very good senior, Griffin Osing, one of the 5 seniors for the Blue Demons in their lineup. So good first period there, Zach.
Yeah, absolutely. He fought off some good shots by the Albia wrestler there, Osing, and he's, you got to keep it close here. Make something happen. Keep working every single thing that you got to continue to stay in this match, working hard, and continue to ride the Albia wrestler out.
Well, that's exactly right, and he's doing a nice job stopping the first 2 or 3 or 4 moves of Osing. Osing tried to kick out that single, and Jake Jewell did a nice job keeping the clamps down on it. We're going to get a caution. I thought that was a double whistle, but we're going to get a caution against Osing. And we're going to get reset here as Jewell's going to ride the right side of Osing. He takes a tight grab. Now we're going to get a caution on Jewell for moving side to side before the whistle. So nice tight waist there by Jewell to start with, trying to control those hips of Osing, but he's going to get a caution to pay for it here. All right, there's the whistle. Stand up by Osing. He's going to split the hands of Jewell, turn in and face him and pick up 1 right in on a single, and now a back trip by Osing. He's going to pick up the 2-point takedown. So that's what the Blue Demons have done very, very well today. They pick up that escape, and then they're right back in on the takedown. And again, they haven't given the Mustangs an opportunity to counter shots as they have been on the go from the whistle. 3-0 lead now for the senior from Albia. Again, one of 5 Blue Demons that are making their first ever, I believe, trip to the state duels. And again, trying to make the most of it, trying to get on that winner's side. Again, Osing up 3-0, now riding a chicken wing on the right side of Jewell. And Jewell trying to get that right arm back down to the mat. Now an inside wrist by Osing on the left side, chicken wing on the right, inside wrist. Jewel now doing a nice job. And Zach, you said these Albia Blue Demons look very strong and physical.
During our break, I was talking to you guys, Jamie, and, talking that these guys are very, very strong. Even though, the Independence wrestlers are doing a nice job of keeping their hands out front, Albia is finding ways of getting those wrists, getting those arms, because they are so strong. They're very developed wrestlers here, and they're digging their way and using their strength to get those holds.
Well, you're exactly right. And just as you say that, a strength move by Jewel as he goes to a sit-out, turn-in, stand-up, and is going to split the hands of Osing on the edge of the mat and pick up one with 21 seconds left to go. So this score is tightened up. It's 3-1 now. Jewel drops in on a single, but a nice counter, nice down block by Osing. Osing's going to end up with a drive cradle on the left side of Jewel. Is going to scoop that left leg. 5 seconds left to go. And I think Jewel is going to be saved by the bell here, and we're going to get potentially dangerous. I don't know why, but we're going to get potentially dangerous as Osing was cranky. I think he had that left leg of Jake Jewel going out against the joint, and our referee stopping that. I would have hated to see a dislocated hip, and that's always a possibility. And Jamie, that's one of the things they talked about here. You wrestle in the state duels. You've got a wrestler that's highly ranked, and the potential for injury always is there, and you'd hate to see that take place today.
Well, it really is, especially with that opportunity. I know Jake Jewel didn't qualify for state, but if you do have a kid that qualified for the state meet and you let something get too out of hand and you don't stop it, definitely you'd ruin a kid's chances of wrestling in the state tournament, and you just don't like to see that. And I think that's where some of the coaches have done their complaining and their rebuttal against the state duels being on this Wednesday, just in case a kid were to get hurt.
Well, you're right. We're going to get stalling now against Jewel as Osing is up on top, riding a tight waist with the left, a head lever with the right, and he's trying to set up that chicken wing. And Jamie, we saw that with the Nashua Plainfield young man last year. Nashua Plainfield young man broke his hand here in the state duels. He was also an individual qualifier. And he was not able to wrestle in the individual state. So
actually, after we just got done talking about that over there in the Wilton match in Logan Magnolia, there's a kid laying on his back with a trainer attending him. He's got a record of 21-3, so you'd think he'd probably be making it to the state tournament, in the individual state tournament here, and it is not looking good. He's not much movement down there. So that's hard to watch. It's hard to see, especially when state duels is before the traditional state tournament.
Well, you're right, and it looks like they're going to end that match, Zach, as the Logan Magnolia wrestler has his headgear off. Well, another chicken wing, a double chicken wing by Osing. Had Jewel going toward his back, but once again our official right on the spot stopping that as Osing took that against the right pressure, the proper pressure of the joint. So a restart, 5-1 lead by Osing with 40 seconds left to go in this match. So Jake Jewel has some work to do, and if you got a victory shot, you got a victory move, you got to show it right here. I'd like to see Jake Jewel get to his feet and maybe throw something or shoot a fireman's carry or a 5-point move. Osing right now is just hanging on for dear life. There's a Granby roll by Jewel. Scramble position. Let's see if he can come out the back door. He's got his head between the legs of Osing. Osing now latched onto both knees of Jewel. On top of Jewel, Jewel underneath Osing, and we're going to get a stalemate as our official stops it with 10 seconds to go. So there's still time, but it's got to happen right now on the whistle. And Jake Jewel trying to set up that Granby roll one more time, and a hard, tight waist by Osing, and this match is going to be over, and it's going to be a 5-1 simple decision for Osing. So that will give the Blue Demons 3 more. So now our score is 25-16, and we're going to weight class 160. And we'll see what's in the cards for the Mustangs here, as we may get a look at Brett Leshin. We need to get a scouting report here, Jamie, as if this is Brett Leshin, this will be Jake Voss from West Delaware. This will be his first round opponent. So we'll have to get the skinny and maybe a quick scouting report back to Jake Voss.
Oh, I think they've probably seen a little bit of Brett Leschen in the last couple days. You know, I know somebody. You know, there's always that chance that there might have been a scout there. You know, taping. But I tell you what, this like you said, and I'm sure there's people here from West Delaware watching this match.
Well, this is Nicholas Holt for Independence. Again, another one of those fine. Fine sophomores. I'll tell you what, you're wrestling a very, very fine senior who is 50-1 coming into the individual tournament, and he's right out on a takedown. Shot that high crotch, cut across to a double, set hold on his backside, and he's going right to work. A very tall, lean Leschen, and I'll tell you what, very frustrating. He's got those long arms and those long levers, and if you've wrestled somebody like that, Zach, it's very frustrating because you think you're almost free, and they latch right onto you, and you can't break free of that grip.
Yeah, they seem to always be able to stay in contact with you at all times. You know, those guys with long legs, long arms, they stay in contact and can get holds from anywhere, just, you know, being able to lengthen out those arms and latch on to different legs and limbs and arms and all that stuff. So that's very frustrating, very difficult to wrestle through.
Well, with 49 seconds left to go, Leschen is going to cut Holt free. Leschen is very slow and methodical, and he's going to drop in on a single, and he's going to cut across to a double, trap the right arm of Holt, and pick up his second takedown. And Leschen a little bit different than the other Albia wrestlers, Zach. He's very slow and methodical, but when he shoots, there's some pretty good explosion there.
Absolutely, and when he hits his shots hard. Usually gets really deep into his shots too. It's not long away from shots, but yes, you're right. You know, it's nothing that's quick, nothing that's really, you know, getting the body to move. It's basically shooting straight on, but getting in, exploding, like you said, and getting really deep into his shots.
Well, that first period's going to end, and it's 2 takedowns for Leschen and an escape for Holt, so it's a 4-1 lead for the senior, another one of those fine seniors from Albia. Again, if you're just joining us, Albia comes into this dual meet as the 3rd seed. Independence is the 6th seed. And I'll tell you what, 33-3 dual meet record. I would say every tournament they must go to is a dual meet tournament. That's how you can have 57 matches. One of the wrestlers was 47-10, 47-0, 45-7. This wrestler right here is 50-1 now. So it's his 52nd match of the season. Brett Leschen from Albia. Right now, Holt up on top, holding his own, doing a nice job driving Leschen forward with a tight waist and a chop. We'll see if Leschen is slow and methodical also underneath, and appears so. Doesn't look like he's in any big hurry to move there, Zach.
No, absolutely not. And this is where Holt's got to get in there and keep working his ties and work something that, you know, his best pinning combination, because, you know, Leschen's not doing a very good job of exploding here. He's kind of just sitting, waiting around, like we said. I think he's looking for something, you know, very slowly to come about for him to escape.
Now there's a stand-up, an inside stand-up by Leschen. Nice job by Holt. He's going to try to lift and return. Nice lift and return by Holt. Holt showing a little bit of strength. Now Leschen up again. And Holt's going to try to do that tight waist tilt from a standing position. And I'll tell you what, the tall, lanky Leschen, that's pretty difficult to do. We know that's Jake Voss, one of his signature moves on top. As soon as that guy gets to, as soon as an opponent gets to his feet, he likes to latch around that tight waist and put his head right in front, tip, and right to that tilt. We're going to get a caution against Leschen one more time. That's his second. 1:19 left to go. Again, our dual meet score is 25-16. Plenty of time still for the Mustangs to get back in this thing, and back in this meet. Nicholas Holt taking on Brett Leschen. There's another stand-up by Leschen. Nice job by Holt, lifting, trying to get the return, but he's got to get under those very tall hips. Now he drops into a double. A mule kick by Leschen. Locked hands by Holt. Leschen's going to pick up 1 for the penalty for locked hands, and he's going to pick up 1 for the escape. So now it's 6-1 in favor of the senior from Albia. Nothing flashy about Leschen, Zach, but he gets the job done.
Yeah, he, like we talked about it, he's just kind of in the middle of the circle, not much feet movement, not much pressure on the head, just waits for his time with a foot that steps in where he can get in deep on his shots, but nothing too exciting. It's just, slow pace and really gets in deep with his length.
Well, you're right, and 34 seconds left to go. It's a 6-1 lead. 2 takedowns for Leschen and a penalty point and escape. Now a low single right to the laces, to the right laces of Nick Holt. He's got Nick Holt lifted up, elevated above his head. He's going to try to pull his head out. Leschen has his head caught between the legs of Holt. We're going to get, I think we got a scissor on the head. Holt guilty of the scissor on the head of Leschen. And there's 2 officials on the mat, so they caught it. So it's another penalty point for Leschen. It's now 7-1. Short arm drag by Leschen. Nice job by Holt squaring him off. Now front headlock by Leschen. Windmill around. And once again, Holt showing a little bit of quickness and holding Leschen off. No goal behind for Leschen. So we're going to go to the third period, 7-1. So nice job by the sophomore. Again, first time for Nicholas Holt to be at the state tournament, to wrestle at the well. And a great experience for all these youngsters that Coach Michael Doyle has. He's got a bevy of them, and he's got some exciting things to happen. This good group of sophomores and freshmen tied in with a couple of nice juniors. Only 3 seniors in the Independence Mustang lineup out of their 14 wrestlers, so 11 of them coming back, so good things for the future for the Mustang wrestling team. Third period underway now. Leschen is going to ride Holt. He's going to ride the the right side, hard, tight waist. We talked about that length of Leschen, and he's got Nick Holt frustrated. Now hard crossface from right to left, maybe a crossface cradle by Leschen, and you would expect that, Zach, with those levers of Leschen, that he might be a legger or a cradler, but we haven't seen any of it yet.
No, we have not. It's now he's letting him up, and you haven't seen much of the offense on top for Leschen. You haven't seen much, like I said, it's just a slow-paced match here. I'd like to see Holt get after it here, see if he can take his shot, get him moving a little bit. If you get a guy that likes to keep a slow pace and get after a guy a little bit, get him uncomfortable, right now Holt is kind of just allowing this match to be a slow pace, let him wrestle his own match here. If he picks it up, gets after a little bit, and gets him uncomfortable, I think we see a little bit better outcome.
Well, there's a double leg takedown once again as Brett Leschen, just sits back and he gets off that out of that staggered stance right into that shot. And again, as the other Albia wrestlers have done so far, once they get in on that shot, they don't mess around, Jamie. They finish it.
Well, they don't. And I kind of to piggyback off what Zach said, I think if Nicholas Holt would come out here and be more physical with him, not let him, because what he's doing is, Zach said, he's slowing down that pace, and Nicholas Holt is just kind of feeding right into that. He's slowing down his style. He's not wrestling his style, and he's kind of coming in, and just when you think you're in a lull here, that's when Leschen shoots in, and and explodes right through it. So I think if you're physical with Leschen, I think you might get him, like Zach said, get him uncomfortable, get in there and make him speed things up a little bit.
Well, there's going to be a 9-2 simple decision, so Nicholas Holt got the job done there, no bonus points. And I think that was a miscue on the part of Leschen there, not to try to score any bonus points for the Blue Demons. But again, what Independence has done through the course of the year, they've done a great job of not giving up.
Absolutely. As we take a look at the other scores around here, in the quarterfinal, Davenport Assumption leads Webster City 33-0. Clear Lake leads Creston 23-15. And Mediapolis leads Sergeant Bluff Luton 16-8. Consolation semifinals in Class 1A. Woodbury Central leads West Marshall 27-18. Wilton leads Logan Magnolia 29-6. In Class 3A consolation semifinals, Linmar leading Pleasant Valley 23-22, and Cedar Rapids Jefferson leads Iowa City West 15-12.
Well, we've got a very interesting weight class 170 match set up. I believe we've got Zach Kramer for Independence taking on Dalton Folkerts. And Folkerts is the last, he's another senior in that lineup. He's 50-3. So, tell you what, a tough match for Zach Kramer. But I'll tell you what, we've seen him wrestle some very solid matches, 31-15. And he's got to be on his game here, Zach, to get these Mustangs back in this dual meet.
You know, Roger, they just keep bringing them out for Albia. It's just the one tough guy after another tough guy after another tough guy. And, you know, it's putting a lot of pressure on Independence for these guys to continue to wrestle their match and to be on their A game. You know, you can't come out here and bring something that is just average. It's got to be very well put together in order to wrestle these guys that have been, you know, wrestled a lot of matches. Not only that, but a lot of dual meets here, and they're used to this stuff. So, you know, they're used to wrestling a lot of matches. They probably got a lot of left in their tanks later on in the meets and things like that. So, you know, Independence has definitely got to keep things going, got to keep the pace going, and be on their A game.
Well, we're going to get stalling against Zach Kramer, and I'm not sure why. He had an underhook on Folkerts, and Folkerts wasn't doing much with the overhook. Now low single by Folkerts, right to the laces, the left shoe of Kramer, and once again it cuts a corner, gets an angle on Kramer. Kramer now over the top of Folkerts. We might get a stalemate. Now Folkerts is going to get his head up, and we talked about in those scrambles, the one with the head up usually is going to win the scramble. Right now Kramer's doing a nice job. He's laced through the legs of Folkerts, and we're going to get a stalemate. That's a nice job by Zach Kramer not to give up two there. It was a great low single shot by Folkerts, but Kramer did a nice job with his counter and his down block. And with 5 seconds left to go, we may go to the second period with this thing tied up 0-0.
Roger, I think that might be the first shot that we've seen that the Albia wrestler has not finished. You know, that's basically one of the first or second stalemates of the entire, you know, duel so far. Is, you know, we keep talking that Albia does a nice job of finishing. When they get in, they finish. You know, they're not messing around here. So that's a very nice job by Zach Kramer there of fighting that thing off and getting a stalemate.
But Zach Kramer not a qualifier to the individual state tournament. So Jamie, he's got three matches left in his career here. So he's trying to make the best of it. Right now he's got a cradle locked up, far side cradle locked up on Folkerts. Let's see if he can dump Folkerts to his back. Kramer's now trying to scoop that left leg of Folkerts, and again doing a nice job pinching his elbows together. He's trying to scoop the left leg and take Folkerts back. Well, now you got to go hip to hip, Zach, and see if you can take Folkerts toward us. If he can go hip to hip and bump Folkerts toward us and then take him to his back, he'd have a great opportunity to get the fall here.
That's right. One thing we don't want to see, Roger, is him trying to hop over this cradle here. You can put it in danger. He's got to try to keep the weight on his head and either take him forward or try to dump him on his back right here, which he just does. Zach Kramer puts him to his back here.
There's a fall. There's the fall. Zach Kramer with the fall in 2:57. And I'll tell you what, we knew all he had to do was lock the cradle up, and all he had to do was go hip to hip and pull him back, and that's Zach Kramer. We've seen Zach do that and do that and do that, and I'm sure that's a position that Dalton Folkerts has not been in the course of this year. As you can see, he got just a little complacent right there, and that's going to be a fall in 2:57 by Zach Kramer. I'll tell you what a memory right there, Jamie Vaskey, if you're Zach Kramer. And that's going to be a forfeit to to Kyle Fank at 182. So Fank will pick up 6. That's a huge 12 points. Now this thing is tied up at 28, gentlemen. So Kyle Fank will get a forfeit here. This thing is tied up at 28. I'll tell you what, that was a huge swing of momentum for the Independence Mustangs. And I'll tell you what, you could just see Coach Mike Doyle take a sigh of relief there, but this thing is a long way from being over. But again, you've got, I think we're going to see McMillan moved up, Jamie, is that correct?
Yeah, this is Jason Grover wrestling for the Mustangs, taking on Carter Isley, or Isley.
So Jason Grover, we knew he was a swing man, either 195 or 220. So once again, Coach Mike Doyle going to roll the dice here. And take his chances.
And Isley ranked number 2 in the state in Class 2A behind Stephen Holloway from Mediapolis. So tough opponent here for Grover.
Well, you're right, and they're out early. Isley out early. Carter Isley. We might see Jacob West now for the Albia Blue Demons moving up. And I'll tell you what, Albia, if they want a chance to win this match, to win this duel, they're looking for big points out of Isley. And he's got a half Nelson on Grover. This could be a fall right here. This has turned into a pin-a-thon. 46 seconds left to go. A half Nelson and an inside wrist by Isley. He's going to crowd Grover. He's going to pick up 3 on the near fall. But once again, Jason Grover finding a way to get himself off his back. That's a nice job by the sophomore, or excuse me, by the junior. Grover coming in here at 29 and 16. Carter Isley is a sophomore at 50 and 0. Tell you what, that's a lot of wins by those Albia Blue Demons. But you know what we're seeing right here, gentlemen? The strength of Independent's schedule paying off in this duel.
Well, it certainly is, and you know we talk about that. We've talked about it all year. You can't look at the record. You got to look at the schedule, and that's what you got to do here. Is we're going to get a potentially dangerous against Isley. And we're going to go back to the start here. 16 seconds left to go in the first period. But like you said, the strength and who Independence wrestles all season long really showing here in these upper weights here in this dual meet.
Well, that's been the strength, and we're going to see their strong man coming up at 220, Matt McMillan, and then we're going to see their anchor at heavyweight, Mitch Saliski. I'll tell you what a nice job by Jason Grover. I'll tell you what, that fall by Kramer has juiced up the Mustangs. They're wrestling with some heart. They're wrestling with some determination. You know, they were in a big hole at one time, 22-12, 25-16, 28-16. They were down 12, and this thing is tied up right now after a huge win and a forefoot. And I'll tell you what, an outstanding job. There's a 1-point escape now by Isley, and we're going back to the center of the mat. Grover the junior, Isley the sophomore. Isley undefeated. 50-0, sporting that undefeated record. I'll tell you what, Jason Grover has wrestled some quality opponents, and he's not taking a back seat to anybody right now. 6-0 for Isley is all. And again, if you're Isley, there's a throw by Isley, and he's going to pick up another takedown. If you're Isley, you're thinking bonus points here. If you're Jason Grover, again, you're thinking off your back, you know, not giving up anything big. Again, this meet is in the balance, as the Independence Mustangs will finish this with two of their hammers, Matt McMillan and Mitch Saliski. So it's nice to have some hammers at the end in a big duel like this, and a good place to start at 106.
Well, it certainly is, and you know that's why they switched with McMillan and Grover here to give themselves an opportunity to. And I like the move by Coach Doyle, switching that up, because especially the way Grover's wrestling right now, he's staying off his back. He's down 8-0, but really Albia for them to win this, they would really need 6 here, and Grover doing a great job.
Well, Carter Isley right now, you know, for being ranked number 2 in the state right now, I think Jason Grover is wrestling a very, very smart match. There's a sit-out turn-in by Grover. He's going to pick up a 1-point escape. And Isley's going to go back to his feet now. Hard collar tie 2-on-1 by Isley. And Grover's going to have to back out of it. 32 seconds left to go, second period. Again, our dual meet is tied up at 28 apiece. And we knew it was going to be exciting. And we're seeing a little bit of that strength, that meat of the Mustangs lineup paying off right here. As you saw Zach Kramer with an unbelievable fall over Dalton Folkerts at 170. Folkerts was 50-3. I'll tell you what, Zach Kramer cinched in that cradle, and it was all over. 6 seconds left to go. There's a double by Isley, and he's going to pick up a takedown. What a great shot by Isley. Caught Grover flat-footed, got in on the double. And quickly finished it for a 2-point takedown, 10-1 lead now. And we're going to go to the third period, and Isley's going to choose down. I'll tell you what, the cradle attempt by Grover. Isley's going to stand up to his feet, and we're going to get a 2-point reversal by Isley and a 1-point escape by Grover. So 12-1 now. There's a long shot by Grover. It's cut across to a double. Isley has to back up out of the mat. Boy, I just like how Independence is getting after it. Grover has a lot of heart. He's got a big engine. Let's see if he can take this last 142 and really attack Isley and maybe make it pay off for him. A long double shot by Grover again. Down blocked by Isley. Hard cross face by Isley as they're going to square up. 1:30 left to go in the match. It's a 12-2 Isley lead and Grover off the edge of the mat. So we're going to go back to the center one more time. Great view of mat number 4 right in front of us. The solid blue mat with the white rings. And here goes the whistle to start the last 122 of the match. 12-2 again. And we get a duck under attempt there by Grover. Not any penetration, not quite deep enough. Well, we saw, there's a sweep single by Isley's in deep on Grover. Maybe a front trip. Now there's a front trip. That's going to be a 2-point takedown. Nicholas Holt there. Two huge matches here, Jamie and Zach. At 152, Jake Jewell only giving up a simple decision to Osing, and Nicholas Holt only giving up a simple decision to Leshin. And you know what? If the Mustangs win this match, 52, 60, and 70 are going to be the 3 matches that are going to put this thing in the win column.
That's a great job by Independence. Like we talked about this whole entire duel here, is that, they're not going to their back. They're not giving up, to those big-time wrestlers that don't have very many losses and have a lot of matches that are really, really strong and getting a lot of holds here, and not giving up 6 points. The 3 points and the 4 points you can handle every once in a while, instead of, those 6 points really start to divvy up and can put you in a bigger hole than what you want to be in.
Well, here's another case of point right here. Isley is up 14-2, and he's been on top of Jason Grover for 49 seconds, and the score stayed the same instead of letting them up and for tech fall. But you know what? Independence is going to take that. They're going to give up a major decision right here. A 2-point tilt maybe by Isley, and no back points. See, that's a simple major decision. So a great job there by Jason Grover. He's going to lose this 14-2. But you know what? That's only 4 points. So the Albia Blue Demons now will take a 4-point lead. This thing may come down to 285, gentlemen.
I'm not really looking forward, but at the same time, as you look at Albia's wrestlers at 285, I believe they all have losing records. So, that's going to make this duel very interesting, very exciting at the end here. So hopefully Independence can stay with it and win this match and look on to 285.
I'm assuming this is Jason West. They've got him listed here as a sophomore. He's 19 and 25. So you got to be thinking, if you're Matt McMillan, you got to be thinking, you got to get that just like a shark. You got to get out there. You got to be thinking bonus points. You got to be thinking 6. You got to be thinking something huge right here. And we're going to see. Not sure which 285-pounders. Albia has 3 listed here. A senior at 4 and 6, a sophomore at 16 and 26, and a sophomore at 1 and 7 at 285. So McMillan right there, he's got West. That's a nice snap down. It goes around the head. He's going to throw West to his back. Matt McMillan has West on his back. There's the fall in 55 seconds. Matt McMillan winning by a fall in 55 seconds. So that's going to put this score at 34-32 with a match to go. 34-32. We've seen this before.
I'll tell you what, Mustangs are going to send out. They kind of look like maybe they're going to. That is Selesky.
That is Mitch Selesky. Has to be, Jamie. You got to throw your best out there right now. And right here, this must be Trevor Blackford.
Yep.
Trevor Blackford, he is a sophomore at 16 and 26.
They put on Track Wrestling Dylan Perkins.
Well,
I've got senior at 2 and 4 is what it shows on mine.
Well, we'll see.
Oh, I've got Dylan Perkins.
You've got Dylan Perkins, so no Trevor Blackford. All right. So we're going to throw his senior out there. Coach Dave Wegner from Albia going to throw his senior out there to see if he can get the job done. He's only got 10 matches. They got him listed at 4 and 6 in the program. So, tell you what, things are looking good for the Mustangs.
We have a tie down here, 36-36.
And what meet is that, Jamie?
Woodbury Central and
West
Marshall State Center.
Right. Got to go to some criteria. Mitch Solitzky in on a single. And that's going to be, they're going to give him 2 right there. There's a 2-point takedown. 2-point takedown by Mitch Solitzky. I'll tell you what, though, good start there. Tell you what, after that match at 170, you could just see the gas, the bubble burst of the Blue Demons, the gas run out of their car. Their hopes of advancing here took a big hit. And once again, Jamie, you called it. The strength of the Mustangs lineup right here so far has showed, and that's nice to see. Solitzky working on a butcher. He's got Perkins in trouble. He's got a butcher. He could put an exclamation point on this dual meet. He's got a butcher with 53 seconds left. He's going to try to tee out. Oh. Perkins is going to roll through. And boy, you hate to let somebody out their back, Zach McCool. You got a butcher. You got somebody going to the back. He's going to lock it up one more time. He's going to throw
that one's a lot
to his back, and that one's going to be a fall right there. He's going to tee out. There's the exclamation point. There's the fall in 126. The Mustangs are going to win this 40-32. The strength of the Mustangs. We've seen it again. The fight, the heart, the guts, the determination. Albia Blue Demons 33-4 now with their tails between their legs and their pitchforks down. They're going to have to go to the loser's side, the Blue Demons there, Jamie. And see their logo at their high school. Okay? That's an outstanding job. Well, let's take a short break here, and we're going to be back.
I got you.
You got it. All right, Jamie, go ahead. We're going to tally up our... Okay, we'll take a short break. Let's take a short break. We'll tally up our results. Jamie will be back with a recap. Stay with us. Wild and crazy. We've got lunch at the well, Class 2A style. You're listening to Hold by Hold Action right here on Eastern Iowa Sports Station, Mix 94.7 KMCH.
And welcome back into the Wells Fargo Arena as the Independence Mustangs victorious here in postseason wrestling on KMCH. Brought to you by Heiberger Insurance, Northeast Iowa Telephone, Adams Family Furniture, American Trust and Savings Bank, and Rave Brothers Construction as the Independence Mustangs defeat Albia 40-32, and what a dual meet that it was that we just witnessed as we started at weight class 106, and Kyle Sinnott pinning Jacob Wolf from Independence in 143. That put the Blue Demons up 6-0. Mitch Evans for Independence then got a forfeit at 113. That tied it up, as did Andrew Wright from Independence, got a forfeit. That made it 12-6 Mustangs. Shadow Leshin then got a 13-5 major decision on Drew Davis. That made it 12-10 in favor of Independence. And then it was Bryce Leshin with a fall in 2 minutes over Tanner Erickson Dale. At 138, Blake Lawless with a fall on Luke House, 1 minute 36 seconds. At 145, Chase Straw with a 14-3 major decision. That made it 22-16 in favor of Albia. 152, it was Griffin Osing with a 5-1 win over Jake Jewell. At 160, it was Brett Leshin with a 9-2 decision over Nicholas Holt. And then at 170, the turning point in this dual meet, I think, for the Independence Mustangs is at 160. You know, we talked about it, thought maybe Brett Leshin would try to get a couple more takedowns for a major decision. He wins 9-2, but then Zach Kramer with a fall in 257 over Dalton Folkerts in 257 the fall. That made it 28-22. Kyle Fank with getting a forfeit for the Mustangs. That tied it up at 28 apiece. It was then Carter Isley with a 14-2 major decision over Jason Grover. That made it 32-28. But Matt McMillan came in and got a 55-second fall over Jason West. That made it 34-32 Mustangs. And Mitch Selesky finishes it off with a fall in 126 over Dylan Perkins, making the final team score 40-32 in favor of the Mustangs. Pins, Independence gets 3. Albia gets 3. 2 major decisions for Albia, 1 for Independence, as 18 takedowns for Albia, 7 for Independence, and they split 7-7, but the Mustangs getting those extra bonus points and the forfeits help them out, and they will move on, and they will take on Davenport Assumption in the next round, as Assumption currently leads 43-9 over Webster City. So it'll be an Independence Davenport Assumption semifinal, and what a great duel that'll be.
Well, Jamie, that'll just be like we're at home, because we've seen Independence so many times, we've seen Assumption so many times. We know both teams very, very well. We know they're wrestlers. We know how they wrestle. So that's going to be a fun duel. That's going to be an easy one for us to call. And I'll tell you what, Mike Doyle, congratulations to him and the rest of the Mustangs. That was a huge hurdle to get over, and now you're guaranteed no worse than 4th place here. And you're going to be in the top 4. You come in here ranked 6th, the 6th seed. You win a great duel here. You do the job. You get the job done. Your guys step up. Your senior steps up. And Zach Kramer, we talked about Jamie not qualifying for the traditional tournament, but making the best out of his last day in the Mustang singlet. What a memory he will have. I'll tell you what, he will take that with him for a long, long time, getting that cradle over very highly ranked Folkerts from Albia and getting the Mustangs on the way to a win here. That was unbelievable. And again, congratulations to the Mustangs. Great job, great dual meet win, and they're going to wrestle here in just a little bit.
Well, it would be real easy for Zach Kramer to, after not qualifying, to get a bad attitude and just come in here and go through the motions. But I tell you what, Zach, he came in and helped his team in a big way, picking up that fall.
Yeah, that's a very nice job of him coming in here and making the best of the opportunity that he was given. That you could easily just, turn his season off after not making it and being upset with not making it to the traditional state tournament like we talk about. But he came out here and didn't look at the Albia wrestler as highly ranked, came into the match, controlled the match, got on his offense, ultimately put him on his back and got the fall for Independence, which was huge. We sit here and talk about also for Independence, they did a very nice job of limiting, pins, major decisions, tech falls. That was very, very big. We sit here and look at 152 and the 160-pound match not becoming major decisions, just regular decisions, when I think Albia figured that they were going to have some more points there to put up, to allow them to win this duel, which Independence did a very nice job of not allowing that.
Absolutely. Well, the Mustangs will wrestle again at 1 o'clock, and then we will have a break, and they will not wrestle again until 6:30. As Roger mentioned, they are guaranteed no worse than 4th place here, as we've got the semifinals coming up for you at 1 o'clock. They're just finishing up with the rest of the duels, and then we'll be back for that semifinal round. Zach, we lose you the rest of the day, as you've got to tend to business at your sports facility here in Des Moines. So we thank you for joining us this morning, and we will talk to you tomorrow and rest of the week as you'll join us for all the great coverage that we're going to have in the individual tournament. Thanks for joining us, buddy. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
As we get you set, semifinal action coming up for Roger Reed and Zach McCool. This is Jamie Vaskey saying so long for now from the state dual tournament here in the Wells Fargo Arena. We'll be back with that semifinal action starting at 1 o'clock with Independence taking on Davenport Assumption. You've been listening to state dual coverage right here on Eastern Iowa Sports Station, Mix 94.7 KMCH.